Well, hello friends. 2022 was an absolute blast, full of all kinds of fun adventures, and we're so thankful that y'all came along with us with all the things that we did this year. So in this video, we're going to take you on a little recap of all the fun adventures we had. Why don't you come along with us? Well, we started off our year in Smoky Mountain National Park in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, one of our favorite places to go. We started off going to Cades Cove and checking out all of the animals that they have in that area. We always are lucky enough to see all kinds of wildlife when we visit the area. It's just one of the nice places to get away to. We live in Florida, so going up to the mountains is always a nice break. Of course, we went at the very beginning of the year, so it was pretty cold outside. That was nice. I wish it would have snowed, but can't always get so lucky on that. Now, our family has always enjoyed the outdoors, going hiking and getting up into the mountains. And since Gatlinburg, Tennessee is not that far of a drive from where we live in the panhandle of Florida, it's an easy getaway for us. We decided to stay in a cabin this time, and we'll show you that here in just a second. But we took a few drives around Cades Cove, the Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail, and Em and I just got out and did a little bit of hiking. Carrie and I decided to head on up to the ridge line on the Appalachian Trail and head on out to Charlie's Bunyan. It's a hike we've done before. It's just an 8-mile round trip, and it's an enjoyable time. The scenery is absolutely amazing. The drop off there is probably a good 1,500 feet down, and you get a very commanding view of North Tennessee. You can see all the way into Pigeon Forge and north. It's just a beautiful, beautiful scenery. This is one of those places that we always like to shoot some content for. It's just beautiful. We had some overcast days while we were there, but our cabin was very nice that we stayed in. It was right in downtown Gatlinburg. We were able to walk to every place we wanted to go, and they had it decorated for Christmas, so we were able to enjoy that and just kind of enjoy getting away from the house and going and staying in a nice new place. Next, we headed to St. Andrews State Park in Panama City Beach, Florida. This isn't too far away from our house. It's a nice little getaway. It's a place we like to go camping at least once a year. The park is right on the Gulf of Mexico, so you've got the beach, you've got the campground. There's actually quite a bit of wildlife there. They've got a little lake called Gator Lake where you can see alligators swimming around. Every single time that we go, we have a good time. Again, it was winter time when we were there this time, so nobody was at the beach. The water was real calm. It was a little on the chilly side, but definitely worth a visit. As you can see, the sunsets there are absolutely spectacular. All these pelicans and wildlife cruising around. And of course, got to have hot dogs over the campfire. But we always have all these deer coming to our campground, and it's just really neat. It's really quaint, and it's kind of a nice little getaway in the hustle bustle of Panama City. Now, I've never actually done this, but I decided to head over to Pensacola, Florida this year to go to the Pensacon convention. Just one of these comic conventions where everybody does all the cosplay dressing up, and you can go meet all kinds of celebrities that have participated in science fiction movies, who write comic books or science fiction books. It was, again, like I said, my first time that I've ever gone. It didn't really know what I was quite getting into. I thought the cosplay was pretty neat. Some of these guys have literally screen-ready costumes that they could be appearing in some of these movies, but there was all kinds of memorabilia there. They had this show in the Pensacola Civic Center where the hockey team plays in downtown Pensacola, Florida, so it's an easy to get to. There was a lot more people there than I had expected. And it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. I think I'll go again. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so if you're looking for memorabilia, if you're looking for T-shirts or Funko Pops or costumes or anything you could possibly think of that has to do with science fiction or comic book characters, these comic book conventions have those. And the Pensacola is not one of the largest ones, but it was definitely worth the trip. Now, we also decided to check out a very popular shopping and dining destination in Panama City Beach, Florida called PIER Park. I'm familiar with the area. Again, it's not too far away from our house, and we've been there multiple times. But we finally decided to highlight it on our channel. This place is kind of split up into two sections. They have a section with stores that are most common in most of our indoor malls nowadays, and then they have a completely different section up front that's kind of one-off stores. They have tons and tons of different restaurants to eat at. It's a pretty popular place for the tourists to visit while vacationing in Northwest Florida. Now, we've been there multiple times, especially when we go down to St. Andrews State Park in Panama City. We always like to go there and have some dinner on one of the nights that we're camping, so we don't have to rough it every single night. But they've got all kinds of outdoor activities. They've got a ropes course, a Ferris wheel. They've got a mini golf course. They've got a huge movie theater there. They got a Dave & Buster's, as you can see, so we always go into the arcade and have a good time. It's definitely a popular place. They've got something for everybody there, and it's probably one of those not missed places. They've also got a pier. Obviously, the place is named PIER Park, that you can go out onto. If you want to fish, it's $7 per person. If you're just a spectator, you can go out for $4 per person, but you get some excellent views of Panama City Beach. And of course, you can see the beaches are very crowded, and I don't blame them. It was a beautiful day. Now, right here, real close to our house in Destin, Florida, is the Gulfarium, and it's just a quaint little place right on the Gulf of Mexico. It's not as big as SeaWorld or some of the other aquariums around the country, but if you're visiting here at the beach, you can go to one of these types of places and see what type of marine life is found in this region. A lot of people come to vacation here, and they don't even realize how much wildlife is in our waters around this area. And here you can see alligators, you can see dolphins, you can see seals, you can see otters, you can see sea turtles, all kinds of wildlife. They have multiple shows throughout the day, and it's just a great place for the family to go visit. It's actually not too expensive, and they are building a large addition to their dolphins enclosure. They're having a whole new enclosure set up. It's supposed to open up sometime in 2023, possibly early 2024, depends on how long it takes for them to get it done. But we're looking forward to checking that out. It's always fun to go see these dolphins and what they can do and how they can be trained. You can do all kinds of different behind-the-scenes tours. You can swim with the dolphins. You can swim with stingrays. They have different feedings that you can participate in. So it's definitely a fun time. And if you are military, this place is one of the many places in our area, since we're a military community, that offers a discount. So again, if you're coming here to Destin, Florida, this is one of the places that's very popular to visit. They are open year-round. I think they're only just closed just a couple times during the year, but it's definitely worth the visit. Again, you can see all kinds of different marine life that live in our waters around this area. Helps you to appreciate this beautiful place that everybody loves to come vacation. Now, right down the road from the Gulfarium is the HARBORWALK Village, right on the harbor of Destin, Florida. It's an extremely popular place because if you're doing pretty much any tourist activity in the area, this is the hub for that. Also, this is the base for the Destin fishing fleet, so if you're interested in going out and doing any deep sea fishing or just basically watching them bring in the catch, this is the place to be. This is my favorite place to go watch the sunset as well. Looking west, you can look out over the East Pass. There's all kinds of different restaurants to eat here, all kinds of shopping, nightlife. They've got all kinds of activities for the kids, like a zip line and rock wall, all kinds of bounce houses. And then, of course, the restaurants are all kinds of seafood, everything you can possibly eat that comes in out of the Gulf of Mexico, you can find down here at the HARBORWALK Village. They also have a very large condominium here, so you can actually stay right on site and enjoy the view right out the balcony of your unit if you'd like, and then go right down here and rent a jet ski, rent a boat, rent a pontoon boat, head on over to Crab Island. They've got all kinds of, again, activities going on during the day, but it is definitely a beautiful place. They've even got a water taxi that'll take you out over to the beach, so if you're staying here, you have easy access to the white sand beaches of the Gulf of Mexico. We enjoy going down here and visiting this place every so often. Seaside, Florida is also another popular destination in this area. We get down there every once in a while. The place does get pretty crowded, but in the off season when we were there, you can see there's not too many people out on the beach, not too much going on. So for us locals, it's a nice opportunity to enjoy the area. We can see why people like to come here and visit. This is actually the area that they shot the movie The Truman Show starring Jim Carrey. So most of you probably recognize the architecture and the buildings in the background if you've seen that movie. And of course, if you've vacationed here on the Gulf Coast, most everybody knows where Seaside, Florida is. It's one of the very first communities that was a planned beach community along this area, and all of the other communities along the 30A corridor have kind of copied it in a respect and planned other communities like it, but it's definitely a fun place to visit. Now, we also headed over to Pensacola as well to go check out the Pensacola Blue WAHOOS baseball team. They're a minor league baseball team that has been playing there for many years now, and it's a fun time. We actually went over there with our church group. We brought all of our youth over there to go watch a baseball game, and I had only been to one prior to this one, so I hadn't really paid much attention to the stadium. It is really, really popular in the Pensacola area. Quite a few people come out and participate in that. They do have a big following. And for a minor league stadium, it's a fun place to watch a game. They have a really nice area in the outfield where you can set up a blanket on the grass and watch from out there. Of course, you can purchase a ticket for an actual seat, but it's right in downtown Pensacola, so the view is out over the bay, and they do have a fireworks show at the end of their games each night, so that's always a fun time too. Now, whenever my family comes to visit this area and they don't live by the beach, one of the things we always do is head out on the Sea Blaster. It's one of the tourist attractions here in Destin, Florida, and it's just a fun trip. They take you out. Now, they have multiple different sailings per day, but we always go out during the sunset cruise, which is super nice. Your fee, which I think is pretty reasonable for attractions in this area, include a 2 to 3 hour cruise watching the sunset. They go out into the Gulf of Mexico, if of course the waves will allow us, and we go out and view dolphins, cruise around. The boat goes super fast, so we get to have a blast doing that. All your drinks are included, water, beer, wine, sodas, whatever you want. They play all kinds of rock music and fun pop music on the boat while you're cruising around, so we're just dancing, having a good time. And then of course, when the sun is setting out there on the Choctawhatchee Bay, it's just absolutely beautiful. Now, we also took a really fun trip to Seattle, Washington this year. It was one that we've been planning for multiple years now. My dad's whole side of the family is from Washington State, and I've been up to Seattle, Washington and the surrounding area multiple times, but it's always fun to get up there. The Pacific Northwest is an absolutely beautiful area, and Seattle is, in my opinion, one of the coolest metropolitan areas in the country. I've been to a lot of major cities around the country, and this is it's a funky, eclectic place to visit. We're here at Pike Place Market, just having a good time, walking around, looking at all the different stalls, the seafood stalls. They sell all kinds of wonderful fruits and vegetables there. It's your typical market, but they've got everything you can possibly imagine. They also have some excellent restaurants there as well. Downtown along the harbor, they have all kinds of shops and fun tourist activities to participate in. We always walk around down there. We always find some fun places to eat. We're taking the monorail there up to the Seattle Center where the Space Needle is located. And this is where the 1964 World's Fair was held. And so they have all kinds of fun activities. They've got museums, the Chihuly Museum of Glass that's there. And just so every time we head up to the Pacific Northwest, we always have a good time. Again, we like to get away up there because here in Florida in the summertime, obviously the heat is absolutely oppressive. This trip that we took, the weather was just beautiful. In fact, my aunt kept apologizing, worried that I was going to be upset that it was so cold, but it was in the 60s the whole time we were up there in June and July. So, of course, for those of us who are used to the heat down here in Florida, we had a great time. We had some excellent views up on the Space Needle. Got to watch the sunset from up there over the Puget Sound. Got to see Mount Rainier in the distance. My favorite football team is the Seattle Seahawks, so got to go by that stadium and see where my favorite football team plays. But all around, it is an excellent city to go visit. If you've got an opportunity to go head up to the Pacific Northwest, definitely take advantage of that because it is a nice area for sure. Now, I had mentioned that we visit a lot of areas up in Washington State, and Mount Rainier National Park is always one of those. Now, believe it or not, we are actually here in the summertime, and you can see how much snow is on the mountain. Mount Rainier experienced its largest snowfall on record in the winter of 2021 to 2022, and so we got the chance to go up there. I have never been up on the mountain in all-out winter conditions. We're usually there during the summer, and most of the snow has melted by then, and you have to climb way up high to get to it. But we were able to get out there and put on snow gear and have a snowball fight and glissade or slide down the snow. We had a good time, Emma and I. Carrie didn't want to get out there in the snow too much. She stayed back in the lodge and drank coffee and sat by the fire most of the time. But we were out there having a good old time. And, of course, we had to build a snowman. Emma and I built one last time we were up in Washington, and we named him Glacier Pete. But this time, since we were sliding down that hill, and we built our snowman right down at the bottom of the hill, we named him Hill Billy, which brilliantly she came up with. But we had an absolutely good time just hanging out, enjoying the snow. Again, we were blessed to have nice weather, in my opinion. I know it looks like bad conditions in the background there, but we made our way down to Narada Falls, which is one of the beautiful waterfalls on the way up to Paradise Lodge and Mount Rainier National Park. And I always love to go hiking down the trail that goes along there. One of these days, I hope to go hike the trail all the way around Mount Rainier. It's called the Wonderland Trail, and it's just over 90 miles long, but definitely a fun hike. I hope to be able to do that one time on our next visit up to the Pacific Northwest. But in the meantime, I can always look back at some of these pictures and enjoy the beautiful scenery. Again, while we have some beautiful scenery here in Florida, we always love to get up to the mountains. We've got the Nisqually River Glacier Basin here, and then we headed on down to Christine Falls, one of the many waterfalls that the road drives over. It's just a beautiful setting again. We always take the time to stop over and check out all these places. Now, of course, a trip to Washington State wouldn't be complete without a trip to Mount St. Helens. Actually, this is Carrie's favorite place to visit in Washington State, and we didn't get very lucky. The cloud deck on the day we were there was sitting at about 5,000 feet, which basically meant it blocked the entire view of Mount St. Helens, but we had seen it on a previous trip. It it was nice to just get out on the Boundary Trail, and we hiked all the way out to Devil's Point and enjoyed some of the views down into the valley. It's just amazing to think that in my lifetime, Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, May 18th of 1980, and to see how much growth and how much has happened in that amount of time, it's just amazing. A lot of wildlife has returned to the area. I'm here looking over Spirit Lake and just thinking about what a majestic view I've got. It's just one of these places where if I lived in the area, I'd probably be out hiking every single weekend. And we were able to run into some mountain goats. And up here on Devil's Point, you can actually still see some of the pumice and some of the ash on the top of the mountain. It just, it's amazing. Mother Nature is absolutely amazing. And we were blessed to be there. Absolutely blessed to be there. Now, our weather wasn't entirely bad while we were in Washington State. The day we headed up to Olympic National Park, we had spectacular weather, as you can see in some of these pictures here. We headed up to Hurricane Ridge at the beginning of our trip out there and did some hiking. Went ahead and made the ridge and were able to look down at the Strait of Juan de Fuca leading into the Puget Sound. We could see all the way out into the Pacific Ocean. We can see all the way up into Canada. The view of Mount Olympus and the other mountains on the Olympic mountain range were just spectacular. It was another beautiful day. And again, we love to hike. We love to get outside. There's just too much amazing scenery to see across our country. And that's really what our family adventures are all about. They're about getting out here and enjoying what we can see in our lifetime. It's just amazing, some of the places that we've been, and we've been blessed to have the opportunity to go up to some of these places. And as I mentioned, my dad's whole side of the family is from Washington State, so they're always very welcoming. They'll let us come up and visit them and go around to see all the sights while we're up there. Now, there's quite a bit of wildlife to be able to be seen up in Olympic National Park as well. We had a neat time seeing all of the mule deer that were walking around. Many of them were up on the ridge, and so we got to see those as well. After that, we headed on out to the Hoh River Rainforest, which is out near the coast, the Pacific coast of Olympic Peninsula. And I don't know what it is about this place. It's just so peaceful. Because it's a rainforest, obviously, and there's so much growth, it's just, the place just absorbs sound. It's so quiet. The day we were there was lightly sprinkling, and we could hear elk bugling in the distance. We were able to go down by the Hoh River and just look at the area and kind of think about some of the Indian tribes that call this area home. I know they've turned this into a national park now for everybody to enjoy, but just helps you appreciate the beauty again of this area. And as I mentioned already before, if you have not been to the Pacific Northwest, this is definitely a place you've got to come visit. I have never seen trees or a forest that looks anything like this in any of my travels. I know there's probably other places around the world that may very well put this place to shame, but as far as access to places like this here in the United States, it's definitely worth a visit. Now, after the Hoh Rainforest, we headed out to the Pacific Coast at Rialto Beach. They have all kinds of beach accesses that you can get out there. It's kind of interesting because living on the East Coast, I'm not used to such a massive tidal change, but there on the West Coast, you've got to definitely be prepared if you're going to hike along the beach. You have to get a tide chart so you know when the high tide is coming in, because literally the areas that I was standing to film some of this footage would have been completely underwater. You can see some of the driftwood that's washed up on the shore, so you can imagine what those waves can do in that area. Now, the last place we visited in the national park was this beautiful Lake Crescent and Lake Crescent Lodge. We haven't stayed here before, but we definitely want to give this place a try if we're ever able to head back out there anytime soon. You can rent kayaks, you can rent canoes, and go out here on this lake and enjoy some of the hiking that's around the area. This was Mercer Falls, one of the small little trails that are close to the lodge. So my dad and I went out there and enjoyed a nice hike. Again, getting back out in the forest and just enjoying what the Pacific Northwest has to offer. Now, most of you who follow the channel know that we love to go to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and so Emma and I made a trip down there this year, actually a couple of times because we're annual pass holders. We started off our trip at Hollywood Studios, one of our favorite parks, has all kinds of fun rides. We're here in Toy Story Land, riding the Slinky Dog roller coaster. As you can see, we always have a blast. Every single time we go to Disney World, we pretty much stay there at the park from the opening till closing. We do it all. We've enjoyed this new ride here, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, a fun little trackless ride that the entire family can ride on, and it's become one of our favorites at the park as well. Just every time we go to Hollywood Studios, it seems to be pretty crowded. I think it's starting to gain some more popularity now that they've added a few more lands and a few more other fun things to do there. We always enjoy going to this park. It's not a full day park for us, but we always have a good time. Our big, or at least my big enjoyment at the park is Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land that they've got. And of course, here we are at the Rise of the Resistance ride, probably, at least in my opinion, the most interactive, immersive ride that I've ever been on. I don't know that there's any theme park around the world that has anything that makes you feel like you are literally a part of what's going on the ride. I mean, I feel like I'm literally in a Star Wars movie inside this ride. It's probably the most realistic thing. And so for a big Star Wars fan like me, I definitely have a good time riding it. Emma and I we don't mind waiting in the line. Usually it's a pretty long line at Hollywood Studios for all these rides, but we always have a good time. Hey, we're there on vacation, and I know Disney World catches a lot of flack for their prices or how busy the place is, but we always have a good time while we're there. Now, I do wish that they had made this ride more in line with the original trilogy series of Star Wars instead of the newer movies. I mean, it's not like I don't like the newer movies, but it's not what I grew up on. I grew up on the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, so those are my favorite movies of the Star Wars series, but hey, that's all right. Can't complain. Still a fun ride. Now, we also enjoy going over to Animal Kingdom. This is a little bit more of a relaxed park for us. Very, very rarely do we ever get there right at opening. We don't really ride too many thrill rides. I mean, we always go on Expedition Everest, the roller coaster that's located at this place. But other than that, we enjoy the shows. The Lion King show, the Festival of Lion King here is probably the best show on property. We still haven't seen the Fantasmic show at Hollywood Studios yet, so we're going to give that a try on our next trip and see if that outdoes this show. But just hearing the singers in this show, they're just absolutely amazing. The views around the park are, again, they're very peaceful. We like to go on the safari and view all the animals. And I think Disney has done a really, really good job of building enclosures that put the animals in mind and not just the guests to the park. So they're very well taken care of. It's not just an amusement park where they're put on display and it's just for the benefit of the visitors. So again, we like to go on the safari and go out there and view those animals. It's kind of a different ride every single time we go. We get to see the lion out there sleeping, of course, but the rhinos are always fun to see. The giraffes are always fun to see. That's Carrie's favorite animal. Now, I actually like river otters, and we've mentioned this in our video before. If I could build a little river otter pond in my backyard and have a pet river otter, I would definitely have one. They are literally the cutest animal that I have ever seen. But anyways, Emma and I always joke about that. She always laughs at me and thinks I'm silly because I want to have an otter pond in my backyard. But hey, what can I say? I'm a sucker for otters. Now, Epcot Center is Carrie's favorite park, and this is another one of those parks where it depends on how long we're going to stay there. They've got the front area of the park where all the rides are for the most part, and then they've got the back area of the park, which is where all the different countries and lands are located. And even though they don't change at all, I love to just walk slowly around there and view all those. I love to go on this ride, Soarin'. It's one of our favorite rides. Living with the Land is Carrie's favorite ride. She enjoys going on that. And we need to do the behind the scenes tour, and so we didn't do that on this trip. This was just Emma and I on this trip, a little daddy and daughter trip. So we had a good time ourselves, and we always end up going on all the stuff anyway. We wanted to make sure that Carrie had an opportunity to see all the footage around the park. But yeah, we didn't really spend a whole lot of time in World Showcase on this trip. We mainly spent our time in the front of the park and riding rides, and we were there during one of the festivals, the Food and Wine Festival, so we ended up having a lot of delicious food and just kind of walked around and enjoyed the day. We've been lucky. All of our trips to Disney World have just been beautiful weather, so of course we've got to head over to my favorite park, which is Magic Kingdom. It has always been my favorite park. There's just something nostalgic about walking in there and seeing the Cinderella's castle. It never gets old. I mean, Carrie and I, we honeymooned there 21 years ago, and we've been going back to Disney World multiple times a year ever since. And of course, we bring Emma along with us now. She enjoys it, and even though she's 16 and a teenager, she still loves to come with mom and dad and come down to Disney World and have a good time. And I know some people would question whether Disney World is worth it or not. I know they keep raising their prices and making it maybe a little bit more difficult for families to vacation there. Again, we're Florida residents, so we're pass holders. I know it's a little bit less expensive for us to be able to vacation there. It's not that far of a drive from our house. I think it takes about 6.5 hours to drive there, so we can get there relatively quickly. In fact, Emma and I are heading down to Disney World on New Year's Day, so we can go and have another little vacation together, just another daddy-daughter trip. But we're here enjoying Splash Mountain. The ride is getting ready to close, and they're going to retheme it to a Tiana ride now, so that'll be fun, but we'll miss this. It's something that has some nostalgic factor to it. It's Emma's favorite ride in the park, so I think she'll still enjoy it even as a retheme. I think it'll still be fun for her. Now, one of the fun places here in the Destin area is Fudpucker's Restaurant, and right next door to it is Fat Daddy's Arcade. This is a really popular place because not only can you eat here, but they have a neat attraction that I think is kind of unique to this area called Gator Beach. You can actually go out, and after you're done eating gator bites in the restaurant or whatever you choose to order, you can go out and feed the alligators. You can buy some food there, and they put it on a stick and let you drop it down and feed the alligators. They also have all kinds of outdoor decks, and they have parties and different nightlife going on throughout the year, depending on if it's tourist season or not. But every single time we go, it doesn't matter if it's off season or not, this place seems to be pretty crowded. Emma likes to go mainly. We'll come over here to have a little lunch, and then we'll check out the alligators before we head into Fat Daddy's Arcade. Of course, she is an arcade junkie. She likes to go in there and and play the games and win the tickets and see whatever prizes she can get. So we always have a good time doing that. It's not a very big arcade, but there's another place there in Destin called The Track. And if you win tickets at Fat Daddy's, the company that owns them also owns The Track. So you can use your tickets at both places if you want to get a prize or just hold on to it. Usually whenever we go to one of these places, we always hold on to our card with all the tickets on it until another trip and just let them build up, because we usually go here a couple times during the year. It's a fun place. And we were actually there on an off day. It wasn't during the main tourist season, so as you can see, it's not very crowded. We had a good time and we're just able to relax. Now, not too far down the road from us is another popular destination, the SANDESTIN Golf and Beach Resort. Every once in a while, we'll go down to their little dining and shopping center called Baytown Wharf. They have all kinds of fun activities going on. In fact, the day that I was there, they were having a car show. And sometimes they have fireworks shows. They'll usually put up a ice skating rink during the wintertime. They'll have all kinds of functions going on. But this is one of the places where, if you're coming to the Destin area, a lot of people like to stay here. They have 4 different golf courses that you can choose from. And my brother and I used to work out at this resort way back when we were teenagers. So it kind of has a lot of memories in our heart, just heading out there to work all the time. And now, if you're familiar with the Destin area, I am sure you know where Crab Island is. It's probably one of the most popular places to visit. It's basically literally what you're looking at, a large sandbar right next to Destin, Florida. And it's pretty much where everybody goes to anchor their boats. We got one of these double slide pontoon boats, and just go out there, anchor the boat, and enjoy a good time, enjoying the water. I mean, that's what you come to Destin for, and so a lot of people definitely take advantage of it, and we did too. Well, we hope you had a good time coming along with us and reminiscing on all the fun times we had during 2022. And now that it's 2023, we've got all kinds of great plans. So we hope you come along with us, and thank you for watching the Butler Family Adventures.